Welcome to the Leadership Spark podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. This is Corey, and today we're going to continue our conversation about trust. The last couple of episodes, we have been talking about trust and how trust is the future of leadership. If you do not have trust as a leader, if your people on your team do not trust you, or the people that you work with do not trust you, then it is going to be very difficult to win at work. It's going to be very difficult to win outside of work if that's not happening outside of work. And so we've been spending time talking about the trust equation. The trust equation is transparency plus empathy plus consistency equals high trust. And if you want to build a team or build a culture of trust, you need all three of those. And so yesterday we talked about the need to be transparent. Whether things are going good or whether things are going bad, you need to be committed to being transparent. When communication decreases, uncertainty increases. And when uncertainty increases, it affects your credibility as a leader. And so one way to create a environment that doesn't create uncertainty is to be transparent, whether things are going good or going bad. And so I thought today, before we move on to empathy, that I would share a mistake that I made recently when it comes to transparency and how I was communicating. And it was an unintentional mistake that I made. There was a decision that I made in the business that I was going too fast to where I didn't communicate it appropriately, and I didn't communicate it in the appropriate order. As a leader, you have to think about both. You have to think about, okay, if I'm going to be transparent, who do I need to communicate it to first? And then what is the message I need to communicate? In this case, I communicated something to the entire WildSpark team when I should have started by communicating it to the leadership team. And I was moving too fast, and I made an assumption that it wasn't a big deal, and it came back to bite me. And it came back to where I don't know if that impacted trust that my team may have in me as a leader, but it did remind me that I need to be transparent, but I also need to be thoughtful in how I communicate and who I communicate to first. And so what I had to do is I had to circle back with my leadership team and clean this up. I had to circle back with my leadership team, and I had to talk about the mistake that I made. I had to talk about, this is why I made the decision that I made, but I should have communicated this to you first, because I should have made sure that the first time you're hearing about it isn't when the rest of the team is hearing about it as well, because I didn't position my leadership team to be a point of reference when it comes to asking or answering questions that their team may have. I put them in a very difficult position because I wasn't transparent and I didn't communicate in the appropriate order. And so it's very important for you to be transparent, whether things are going good or things are going bad, but also you can think about, as you communicate, what is your message that you're communicating, and who needs to hear that message first and communicate it in the appropriate order. And don't be like me. Don't make an assumption that something may not be a big deal when it may actually be a big deal, or it may create questions that people have that they need the environment to ask those questions in before the message goes out to the broader team. So you're going to do today is, as you think about ways that you can be transparent, also think about the message and the order in which you should communicate, and then go execute on that. And that will put you in a position to cultivate trust and build a culture of trust through your transparency.